you're talking about the run you did with, there was the one with I Prevail. I don't know if, was there another one I'm not thinking of?
We just finished a headliner in the UK.
Oh, okay. And it was interesting seeing that because, like you said, I feel like, the hype was huge in a way that, like, not to say that I wasn't expecting it, but I mean, you really never know. If you take a lot of time off, you guys haven't put out music for a while. A lot of bands kind of from your era of when you came out, and it's like, it's kind of horrifying that Pierce the Veil is like almost 20 years old now, which is scary. But a lot of bands from that era, have kind of maybe fallen off a little bit. And that certainly isn't the case with you guys. Do you have any thoughts on why that is the case?
Um, I think that I, I I just feel like we have a unique fan base. I think that our fans have. I think we're pretty deeply rooted with them, because of how, like you said, our band's nearly 20 years old. So it's been a long, you know, journey of steps of building with them. So I think it just, yeah, our connection with them runs really deep. And so when we're off the road, we still see growth because there's always this like support of our fan base, just rooting us on, telling us they can't wait for the new music. And that gets us, that's what keeps us going and wants us to make a new album, is when we see that people still care and they're investing in us. Yeah, so that really inspired us for this record. When we were recording, I printed out big old posters of our crowds from our over the years, because we have these beautiful pictures of our crowds, and so I put them all over the studio so that we would remind ourselves of like where we're going to be, who's going to be listening to this. Like, we're going to be on a stage in front of these people, and I think it really helped us keep in a good mindset for the record.
You've got to keep yourself happy as a musician, obviously, because like, that's part of why you do this. How do you kind of balance I don't know if selfish is the right word, but like the things you want to do for yourself versus the things that you know or think that fans want? How do you kind of balance those two things?
Like me, like in songs
Yeah.
and stuff. It. I think that it always has to come from us first. I don't think we can really. I don't know if it's smart to write from a place of this is. I think this is what you want to hear.
Right.
I think that would be confusing. But for
you
me,
can
it's
tell
like,
when people do that, and it almost never works out.
yeah, that would be harder for me to do, I think, because I don't know what people exactly want. Because everybody wants something different. So
Right.
it's really just about, putting in as much of ourselves into these songs as we can, making them as honest as we can. Every lyric for me is, I try to make it count and make it exactly what I want it to be. And that's what takes the longest for me. That's why every Pierce the Veil record gets pushed back and pushed back, because I'm just not done with the lyrics. Everything else will be done, but it's just about getting the words right.
It's interesting that you say that, because I've become very aware over the past few years that a lot of rock fans basically don't give a shit about lyrics. And I do a lot. I care a lot about lyrics. And it's like, I can tell there's a lot of people, especially like men, that really just care about the riffs. What makes lyrics so important to you?
I think when I first started writing music, the first songs that I wrote were like Pennywise songs. They were like, fight for your right, stand up, integrity. And like, I loved that stuff. And then all of a sudden I started with our first Pierce the Veil record. I started dabbling with like, emotions and like talking about myself. And all of a sudden the songs felt like 10 times more powerful. And it was like, I had this layer of music. And then as soon as I added those words to it, the song just like shot up into something like that I felt so like strongly about. And so I think it started then when I was like, man, lyrics just elevate things to such a high level. So yeah, it started when I was in my early 20s, like started just developing my writing.
it's interesting that I feel like part of that is coming from the fact that I don't want to say all of it, but a lot of rock, especially like metal and metalcore kind of stuff, is kind of increasingly become like guitar music written for other guitarists. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I mean, you guys definitely have a lot of kind of guitar heavy music as well. But I feel like, it's kind of a net negative for the genre if like only guitar people care about this stuff. And I think that's part of what people connect with Pierce the Veil is that it's not just the riffs.
Yeah, I mean, because I care about both. I really do. Everything starts with music for me. I always say that I'm a guitar player first because that's how I started. And my goal um, is to have a song make you feel something before there's even a single word on it or a single note saying. So I always want there to be motion in the music as well, so that you could hear the song and feel sad or feel excited um, so that's like a gauge for me is like if I'm in my studio and I'm just feeling this music, like, and it's making me feel a type of way, like that's when I feel like I have something special. So I do want it to start there with riffs and with emotion in the